Good or bad, our thoughts are a reality. That's what we're going to be talking about this morning. So, welcome. You can live a life in flow where your deepest heart's desires become reality.
You are here to contribute through your essence, fall deeper in love with your life and the journey that you are on.
Take what works, ditch the rest, and always stay set to love.
Thank you for being a part of this community. We're all designed to live in flow. So let's go.
Good morning, friend.
Good morning. How are you today?
Doing really good. It's a little bit gloomy outside for some reason. It's still beautiful, but it's, this weather, it's sunny one day, overcast the next. It's like it doesn't know what season it's in.
I know. Sometimes I love it though, because I think, oh, this kind of reminds me of Halloween. This is kind of like the fall weather. So I don't mind that it comes and goes and that
Me
it's
either.
sunny and then a little dreary. It kind of, at least in Southern California, it spices it up since we don't get all the seasons. This kind of makes me feel like we kind of do.
Yes. And I'm wondering too, because we're talking about thoughts, if how the weather is outside, if this is the way I'm pronouncing it or saying it, does that affect our thoughts? Like, do you go, oh, it's this, or, oh, it's going to be so hot. And then your thoughts about your day, does that have anything to do with anything? I'm not.
I think for sure. I mean, at least in small ways, it depends on, how much the weather impacts someone. But I think for me, like this weather makes me feel nostalgic, and like today I have all these to-do list things and I think I want to clean. This is what this weather makes me feel like. It makes me feel like holidays kind of. And so I do think that our thoughts create our reality because, well, however we perceive the world is then the persona and the energy that we bring into the world. So if we look outside and we think, oh, today's going to be horrible for whatever reason, then it's going to be horrible. And if you think today's going to be great, and even if you have a hard thing coming, you're like, I've got this, I'm going to master this, I'm going to be great at it, then that's the energy that you're bringing to whatever challenge you might be facing. So I definitely think that the outside world can shape our thoughts, and then our thoughts do become our reality. There's this really great quote, Shelley, that I saw when I was doing a little bit of research on this topic. And this is from Gandhi. I'll read it and then I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. It says, your beliefs become your thoughts. Your thoughts become your words. Your words become your actions. Your actions become your habits. Your habits become your values. Your values become your destiny. And that's Gandhi.
Wow.
Pretty powerful, right?
Well, what first comes to mind is, remember when we went to the Grand Canyon and they had us do this exercise with the life coaches where you had your whole life in a pie where you have your relationships, your work, or whatever. I feel like some of these thoughts, I think of the ones that I have mastered. Well, I feel like I have mastered, and that I have a good positive attitude. And then there's other areas of that pie that I think I could still use work on. So I think for some people, maybe to break it up instead of looking, because what Gandhi said is absolutely true, but that could be pretty overwhelming. Right. If, you think of everything in your life, you're like, oh my gosh. So for me, I would say, like, for my own personal growth, because I talk about it all the time, would be your thoughts about losing weight and being healthy. If you have this attitude of desperation and you want everything right now, usually you sabotage it because you have these expectations of what things are going to be. And, I've been losing now a pound, 6 ounces, 2 pounds. This week I lost 2.6 pounds.
Hey.
It was a good week, but I really kind of put that over to those have been my thoughts. Like, this isn't going to happen overnight. I need to change something internally and have a positive attitude and love myself right where I'm at. And I've tried to learn this lesson so many times. Your self-talk shouldn't be beating yourself up. It needs to be encouraging, like you would a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowly but surely, it does become your reality of winning. You know, you're going to win. You're going to get to the end of this. And there is actually no end, just like there's no end to being positive. You just keep going and keep it, you know, that's just one part of your life. So for me, that's just been one that this really applies, because your self-talk is, oh, you're never going to get there. Oh my gosh, this is so hard. You know, I'm doing this all alone. Nothing looks good on me. Like all these mean thoughts just really keep you stuck and down.
I agree. And I think that also pertains to like your career, your life, the things that you're doing, you know, the exact same thing that you just said, you could take and apply to your career. So let's say you wanted to become a real estate agent. Let's just throw that one out there. But you think, I can never pass the test. I'm not smart enough. Or no one's ever going to want to buy a house from me. Or oh, I don't think I could really do it. Or I don't think, when you put all those negative thoughts in front of whatever it is that deep down you would really like to do or really like to try. I think about this for artists, especially, like, who's ever going to want to buy this art? And, oh, it's not good enough. And, oh, this song's not good enough, or this picture's not good enough, or whatever it might be, or people who write. I thought that way a lot about my book. And, you know, I always go back to, I think about Rachel Hollis, and she's an author and she's a speaker, for anyone out there who doesn't know. And she would write down every day in her journal, I am like the world's best public speaker or something. I'm paraphrasing, but she would write down something, even though it wasn't true. And even though she was only speaking at like senior centers or just wherever she could get a little gig at to share some of her thoughts. And she just wrote it down every day. And what happens is when you start programming your mind to think that way, like to think I'm in the best shape of my life, and not some future thing like I will be, but a present. I am. I'm the best artist I can be. I'm selling 100 books a day. People are going crazy over my art. When you put it in the present moment, what happens is, just like your awareness when you buy a new car and all of a sudden you start seeing that car everywhere. Yeah. You start seeing the opportunities. You start seeing those choices in your life, and then you start choosing those things because that's the reality that you want. So for you in losing weight, when you say I am in the best shape of my life and losing this weight is easy, and you start saying these positive things, when that cake crosses your plate, you're going to just be like, it's not even an option for you. You don't even have to debate it, because your goal and where your awareness and your attention is somewhere over here. And you're not even thinking about that carrot cake that looks so good that you wish you could eat, because you're like, it's just not even an option.
Well, and you know, somebody said, and this applies to just anything too. And I just read this, I think it was on one of my Weight Watchers things, but it was like, what are your options? You know, as far as what are your options? If you don't stick with your program, or you don't do positive thoughts, or you don't want, like, then you're back to being unhappy. So why would you want to let it go and go back? So whatever it is that you're trying to achieve or to do, you have to remember that you were unhappy with this to begin with. Why do you want to not keep going forward and go back to where you were, where you were miserable, whether it be in that relationship or whatever it is? And for some reason, we tend to let things go and go back to right where we were, when, you know, reality is you can be happy all the time, most of the time.
So what would you say, Shelley, to someone who maybe didn't even have that goal? Like, for you, maybe you have the goal, like, you know, okay, I want to lose 20 more pounds, or someone says, I want to write this book, or someone says, I want to be able to run that marathon. But what if someone's even at a place before all of that, where their thoughts really are just helpless? You know, they just really feel like they don't have a goal or something that they're trying to like vie for and and reach for?
Well, first of all, if you really have no momentum, I think you probably have negative thoughts in your mind. I just think that that goes with it. Now, I can't be sure without talking to that person, but I would say you need to talk over the negative voice. So, for instance, let's just take working out. I remember being in a space in my life where when I would work out, I would compare myself to other people while I'm trying to work out and do a positive thing. But I've got this little voice going, you suck. Like you are not limber. And I wonder if your butt looks so fat from the people behind you. You should be so, and this mean voice. And when I would hear those voices, I'd tell it to shut up. And shut up is the worst thing you could say, right? So those are such mean voices. That's what they deserve. So I just think if you override those negative things, and eventually I just kept saying, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. And then like a week later after doing that, the negative voices were gone. And it leaves space to say, okay, now what is it that I really want? I want to be healthy. I want to work out. You're doing something positive. You're doing great. Like encourage yourself. Right. Those negative voices you've got to get rid of them. You've got to override it.
What about combating it with so if the intent is, I know exactly what I want to do with my life, even if you have no idea what it is you want to do with your life. If when you say, hush, hush, voice, negative voice, I know exactly what I want to do with my life. And you just keep saying that to yourself, even though you have no idea. I wonder if that would be a thought experiment. I wonder if that alone could help you to just open your mind and open your heart to exactly what you want in life. So if that negative voice is coming in, right, and you tell it to leave you alone, be quiet, shut up, whatever you want to say, and then you follow it up with a statement that is what you do want. So whether it's knowing what you want, or I'm losing all the weight I need, or I look the best I could ever look, or whatever, right? Following up with a positive intent, positive statement. Do you think that would shift your mindset? I think
it can be helpful, really but also too goes back to having a flow life is knowing yourself. And if you do a little bit of research within yourself, there are other tricks besides just what you think. When you get to know yourself better, like if I was to say to somebody who didn't know what kind of career they want, I would say, what kind of things do you enjoy? Where's your happy place? When you're feeling negative, what are your thoughts when you're being negative? What do you do to get out of that? Some people would say, I go groom my dog, I go out there with, nature, whatever it is. And then from there, the things that you like, I think your thoughts can also help you to see things that make you happy. And you find like there's so many things that go with so many things. Like if you were an artist and you're not ready to just start painting things, you might want to work for an art gallery, or you might want to put yourself around people that are around art, or whether it's drama. And so you want to get into a theater group, whatever that might be. And then things open up.
Yes.
So I think it's not even same with, even if we go back to my weight thing, having pictures on the mirror of what you want, what kind of house you want to live in, where you want to go. It's almost like you're attracting these things. And like, how many times do you hear people say, oh my gosh, that's exactly the house that I'm sitting in, or I can't believe it, I'm actually on the Oprah show. I've dreamt about this for 10 years. It's been on every calendar of mine, and I have pictures of her. It happens. You just have to believe that your thoughts are your reality and be very mindful of it.
I agree. And there's enough people out there that I absolutely love. Eckhart Tolle, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Bruce Lipton. There's a bunch of people out there who talk about this subject. And, more and more, and we don't have time to jump in all this, and I'm nowhere near smart enough, but lots of quantum physicists talk about this in, I know this is like the woo, we kind of talk about it in like the psychological woo-woo-ish kind of space, but there's a lot of science that also says that our thoughts become reality, that our thoughts have energy and power, and
Yes.
that it really does help to shape our reality. So the more that we can be cognizant of what it is that we're thinking and be intentional about what it is that we're thinking and what it is that we want to manifest in our lives, then that will be our reality. And so to be able to bring in those good thoughts and people who support you and help you with the journey and the goals that you have in your life, I think that also really helps to create a reality that is in flow and that you really do love.
I do. I agree with you 100% that if you take anything from this, if you are in a negative space, that you really need to be aware of that and switch it around. And even if it means talk out loud to yourself, you've got to stay positive and make it good thoughts, not negative thoughts or for me thoughts. Get out of your own way and think positive.
Beautiful things can happen. We have been in those sad places, and we've also turned it around. And then we've fallen back into those sad places and turned it around. Such is life. Such is life. But this is what it's all about, learning and growing. And we want to thank you guys so much for learning and growing with us here on Set to Love every weekday morning on YouTube and Facebook. You can find us at settolove.com. And if you have questions or you want to reach out, you're looking for some advice in your life, you can email us, set2lovepodcast@gmail.com. We're here weekday mornings. I love you, best friend.
Love you. Make it a great day, everyone. Hit the bell.
Have a great day.